Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. Happy Thursday. We made it through the Fed rate cut and giant nothing burger. Okay, I guess we could say positively that the market didn't crater. So I guess we could say that. But the 25 basis point cut was pretty much expected, and here we are, dead at what are we dead at right now? Let's take a look at Trading View. 89,859. That's right. Bitcoin dead over 80K. Wild times, guys. Okay, so but right, the CIO of Bitwise has gotten a little bit more bullish. Bitcoin price of 1.3 million by 2035 is actually conservative, and he's going to explain why. We're going to take a look at that. More Hopium, giant Bitcoin advertisement, Steak and Shake, more moves. Look at that. Banks can act as intermediaries for Bitcoin. Is that, I guess that's winning, right? That's winning in terms of the TradFi system. More stuff coming out of Strive, ticker symbol ASST. Strategy pushes back on the MSCI Letter, XXI. Some hopeful messaging from what is that? I'm brain farting on his name. Lutnick's son. Anyways, he's trying to get you to buy some shares. That's pretty interesting stuff. As you know, CEP has now become XXI on the stock market. And of course, it's just kind of sitting flat because guess what? There's other Bitcoin companies that have over 43,000 Bitcoin that are trading at 4 times less than they are. So anyways, we've got some funny fails that we are going to take a look at, and some new Bitcoin mining hardware announced. And of course, another reminder for Samourai. That's right, Keone has just a couple more days, and there's big push to try to make some noise for this. And everybody's doing their part. Guys, you know the deal. Before we dive into all the fun, all the news, we're going to give a shout out to the amazing Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium. We're going to be right back. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, guys, here we go. Giant Bitcoin advertisement seen in Times Square, right? And I mean, look, that is some solid messaging. No man should work for what another man can print. This is like very typical Bitcoin messaging. Fantastic that it was actually there. The real question is, how many of the people walking around actually even understand this? So definitely not a bad thing. Definitely should get the wheels turning. It's been pretty ineffective up until now. So I don't know. But I'll take it as Hopium. Why not? People are paying to put those billboards up, and they're trying to remind people, hey, the money is broken. Steak and Shake. We already knew this, right, guys? We already knew that they were going to deposit their Bitcoin payments into what they called a strategic Bitcoin reserve. People like me have assumed that the reason why they're doing this is because it turns out that they aren't actually taking in as much Bitcoin as they would like, which is totally fine. I mean, who cares? I like the fact that they understand at least one of Bitcoin's value propositions, and are like, hey, we're just going to hodl this. Look at how well the hodlers have done. We'll just do what they're doing and sell burgers. But look, this is kind of interesting, though. More Bitcoin partnerships to be announced. Right? What is that? Like the partnership parade? This is something that I've mentioned about shitcoins, right? And it's not just shitcoins that do this, right? Businesses do this all the time to show you that they're making progress, that they're getting ahead, right? Talk to you about partnerships, and partnerships are usually supposed to equal revenues down the line. I mean, there is no Bitcoin corporation, so I don't know who they're partnering with. But, of course, I'm super curious to know what it is that they're talking about. So we're going to be following along with this. Yeah, right? ACP, how much did that sign cost? Let's go back here. Definitely wasn't cheap. I'll go look into it. I'm sure it's thousands of dollars. just to put that up. And also the other thing is, how long does it stay up there for? I'm guessing that there's some type of a, like a contract for it. They do it for a week, a day, who knows? Who knows? Anyways, let's keep going because there's so much more fun here that's happening. And yeah, we're going to dive into it. Okay. All right, here we go. The Bitwise CIO, Matt Hoogan, breaks down the Bitcoin model and explains why the 2035 price target of 1.3 million is actually conservative. I love it when we see the mainstream guys become boltards. In fairness, maybe some people could see that as a little bit bearish. Fair enough. I would say that, maybe 1.3 million based on how quickly we're printing money and the new $40 billion treasury bond purchase for the month was just announced. Maybe 1.3 million is conservative, right? Maybe those numbers should be reversed. Maybe it's 3.1 million. We just don't know. Okay. Let's see what he had to say here.
So here is our valuation model for Bitcoin that we've been sharing. I'll get out of the way since people are taking pictures. But there's one thing on here that I want to emphasize. What we've
pictures for tweets.
done here is we look at all the markets we think Bitcoin could address. Those are listed on the left. We look at the size of the markets, and then we take the historical CAGR of those markets and project them into the future. So you can see the size of the markets. Our base case, which I actually think is under-optimistic, that gets to 1.3 million is based primarily on Bitcoin going from 9% as big as gold to 25% as big as gold. That's a really conservative assumption, right? If you think about Bitcoin's journey over the last 10 years, going from 0 to 9%, it's an infinite increase. If it only gets to a quarter as big as gold, you're talking about Bitcoin at $1.3 million. If it gets to as big as gold, you can multiply that by 4, and you're in the $7 million range. If you think it's going to be bigger than gold, you get into the $10 million range.
Matt Hoogan has honed in his Hopium delivery. Even if I think he's nuts, even if I don't believe him, I love what he's saying. Because obviously I want to believe him. So.
It really doesn't take very extreme assumptions to
bullish.
Get into millions of dollars of
Bitcoin's
right? Value. The mistake I see people making all the time is assuming the gold market, which we proxy against, is fixed. In fact, it's been growing significantly over time. As it grows, the target for Bitcoin's market grows. And again, if we just get to 25% of the value, you're talking about $1 million Bitcoin.
Okay, yeah, I'm good. Sign me up. I'll take it. But yeah, Matthew, I agree. It is slightly too bullish. But we need some hopium right now, guys. Because again, right, the bull run is over. We've got the yellow puppets screaming from the rooftops that we're going to 50K. So look, I need all the hopium I can get. Okay, that's the honest to God truth. I just need all the hopium I can get. So on that note, more hopium. Here we go. The Teddy Bitcoin account, not the other Teddy Bitcoin. I feel like there's two Teddy Bitcoin accounts. There's this one where it's like this self-aggrandizing one, and then there's this Teddy Bitcoin account that I enjoy a lot more. Yeah, see, right? Exactly, Frederick. $1 million Bitcoin, why not? Hey, you know what? If you want to be all set, just have 3 Bitcoin that are worth $1 million right now. That's it. That's all we need, right? It's so easy. It's all just so easy. And of course, I'm being sarcastic. The joke comes from these people who used to tell you, hey guys, all you need to do is accumulate 5 Bitcoin and you're going to be set for life. It just reminds me of the people that tell you that you just need to own 10 homes and you're going to be able to make $1 million. It's randomness. Doesn't even mean anything. Okay. So anyways, guys, we're back to the hopium here. M2 global liquidity. Look at that line. Pumped. Gold. Pump next. Okay. Teddy Bitcoin is insinuating that we are next. Now, not gonna lie. This doesn't look too good for us, though. It kind of looks like we need to reverse this trend. Not to mention the fact that we've done like 8 BARTs in a row. The Angry Chihuahua was talking to me about this yesterday, right? If you go take a look at I think it's like our 30-minute chart on Bitcoin, it just looks like 8 BARTs all in a row. Like, what the hell are we doing? Look, I hope that our little, our little chart here reverses, and we start to do some magic. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic still. I'm not in the total camp. Just cautiously optimistic. I'm in the I want it to be different, but I understand that my hopium gets in the way of reality. Okay. And we know it, guys. We know it. That's right. The Fed yesterday said it's going to begin purchasing U.S. Treasury bills on December 12th, and will purchase $40 billion worth of Treasury bills in 30 days. And that's right, TFTC, right? They hit the nail on the head. The New York Fed says Treasury purchases will stay elevated for months. QE has quietly begun, and that's exactly what they said. They said that they are going to be keeping those purchases up. They're elevated for the next several months and then cool it off. Now, of course, by the time we get to that point where they're supposed to cool it off, there'll probably be a different discussion that needs to happen. We'll see, right? We'll see. But this, yep, money printer go burr. Guys, the money printer never stops. Okay, that is the reality of it, right? The perception is for us to think that it slows down, that it stops, and all this stuff. It never stops. So that's all just nonsense. And here you go, right? Purchases will start on December 12th, 2025. The desk anticipates that pace of RMPs will remain elevated for months to offset expected large increases in non-reserve liabilities in April. A bit of a balancing act, huh? Kind of like they're walking a tight wire, pretending that they have more tools than, let's see, money printing? Yeah, no, it's the only tool. It's the only tool they've got. They know it. We know it. They know that we know it, but they are pretending that nobody knows it. That's kind of where we break in that process. Yeah. All right. So the OCC confirms bank authority to engage in riskless principal crypto asset transactions. Now, what does that actually mean? Okay. What that means is that the banks are going to simply act as an intermediary where they will match up buyers and sellers. So there's not going to be, the point is that they're not going to have custody of the Bitcoin. They are simply just matching buyers and sellers. Of course, I'm the kind of person that, like, when I look at this type of stuff, I think to myself, okay, that's the first step, right? That's the first step. But then once people get used to that, right? What's the next step? There's no question that there's going to be custody, right? And at first, the custody is going to seem great. Who knows? You may even get paid. For them to take your Bitcoin, right? Yeah. I'm not going to be falling for that. But anyways, I get it in terms of adoption, step in the right direction. We're starting to see that there is more retail demand, and it's coming from the side of TradFi through the banks. I'll take it. Yeah, exactly. There you go. See, Matthew just cut all my fluff right out there. That means is they want all the Bitcoin so you can transact in it without their permission. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I thought that was still on the stage. Anyways, yeah. So guys, new mining hardware, right? Out of let's see, that was showcased out of Abu Dhabi. Let's go take a look at that. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. You know what's interesting about the new mining hardware? I'm wondering if, I'm sure that other people are picking up on this, but if you have a background in IT, you probably noticed that these miners, they're all starting to just look like servers, right? Like that's what it is. It's all just server chassis. So again, I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying this is a natural evolution. This is what we're seeing. It's the natural evolution of hardware that is, people might want to say it's not, but guess what? This is all just IT, right? And it's going to be kind of funny at some point, right? It just becomes part of the IT workload. Yeah, you manage and maintain this miners too. It's all a part of it. But yeah, that's the first thing I noticed is that these things are starting to look like servers, right? Yeah, exactly. They are. That's all it is, man. Bunch of Blade servers. Dude, you're getting a Dell. It's too bad. Whatever happened to that guy? And he was all excited back in, what was that, like the early 2000s? Man, every commercial was like, dude, you're getting a Dell. It was the coolest thing. And he's gone. Strive. Co-founded by Vivek, we know, has launched a $500 million preferred stock offering to fund Bitcoin acquisitions and general corporate purchases. Yay. And just so you know, guys, the split that you could see down here on the chart, right? That was a 1 for 5, right? So they if you had 5 shares, they gave you 1, right? This thing is just, it's so strange. Maybe I just need to be more of a grifter, but like I just don't understand how you can shill a different class of shares when your main class of shares can barely fucking stay above $1. Like you're sitting here doing gymnastics, financial gymnastics to keep this thing alive. And you're going to sell another set of shares just so that you can buy more Bitcoin. Like you should be trying to figure out how to keep the lights on. Anyways, whatever. I don't care. Just saying. All right. That's right. Strategy pushing back. And you know what? Good for them. Right? Because as much as I criticize, MicroStrategy and Sailor, I do believe that they're being bullied, right? I do believe that they're being bullied. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This is the nature of the beast, right? But good for them that they're pushing back. Good for them that they put out this letter. And here we go. MSTR urges the index provider to drop its plan to classify digital asset treasuries as funds, calling the 50% digital asset cap discriminatory, unworkable, anti-innovation, and inconsistent with neutral indexing. Yes, I do agree with that. It is inconsistent with neutral indexing. And I believe that if these businesses have created this model and they intend to capitalize on it, then they should be allowed to succeed or fail by their own volition. They should not be handicapped by a regulator that, I mean, for lack of a better term, I think is just being a bully. That's what that is, right? They're just flexing their regulatory muscle. Hey, plastic, what's up? Good morning. So yeah, good on strategy for pushing back on this. Hey, good morning, Roman. That's right. We're going at it. Yeah, made so you can improve. Yeah, here's a copy of the letter. Obviously, guys, all of this stuff is in the show notes if you want to go through it yourself. But obviously they outline here why. It's time to sell the sizzle, guys. XXI is publicly traded, and you know what? Just for the sake of it, let's go take a look at what XXI is trading at today. $11.52. Oh well. Anyways, all right. Let's see what Mini Lutnick had to say. Yeah, I don't know his first name, so just call him that. Mini Lutnick had to say.
Lutnick, and I'm the chairman of Cantor Fitzgerald. 21 Capital was really the core of Cantor, in my opinion, which was 2 sectors that Cantor really believes in, that you saw, cross paths to create, an awesome project. The first one is SPACs, which was a space, we've had strong conviction in for years. We were the #1 underwriter in SPACs before the boom in 21. During the boom, we stayed, a top player, and then when all the other competitors ran away from the space after 21, we stayed committed. And then crypto, kind of the same story. We really believed in the space when no one else did, and stayed through it and built all the right relationships, and really were thoughtful in creating ideas. And in creating 21 Capital, we were a lot of the inspiration for the DATs that came along after. So really everything just Cantor stands for, which is really believing in a space and seeing the future.
Okay, so a whole bunch of altruism, right? They're doing this all for altruistic reasons. But yeah, look, to a certain extent, he's not he's not being incorrect about this, right? He isn't being incorrect. I do think that Cantor Fitzgerald has definitely put skin in the game. So there's no question there. Yeah, plastic, huh? You can ask Jack Mallers who rug pulled him first day at Wall Street, 20%. I mean, look, why would they be up though? Right? I mean, they're really at this point no different than any of the others, right? They really aren't any different than any of the others. But I just want to go back here just very quickly. Z Logic. I don't actually. I mean, look, he canceled. But in all fairness, we haven't gotten a cancellation for tomorrow. I'm super excited. I'm still prepared for this. I don't think no. I don't think he's standing us up because of the Treasury Company grift. I think that. Because his thing is all about the big print, right? It's about his book. So I don't know. I'm gonna definitely ask him what his takes are on these treasury companies. But yeah, as of right now, no cancellation of tomorrow's episode. But of course, guys, as you know, if we do get canceled, if we do get stood up again, I already have another show lined up with a whole bunch of stuff ready just in case. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough sometimes. When you're a smaller platform, let's be honest, right? The reality is that for somebody like him, and not just him, but a lot of influencers of a certain caliber, right? They're looking at it, in my eyes, as time better spent, right? So they could spend time on a show like mine that has approximately 3,000 subscribers, right? Or right, he can go and spend time on a show that has 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers or whatever it is, right? And then that's his business. It's totally fine. I don't take that's just the way I see it. I very well could be wrong about that. I personally have never treated people that way. I don't really care. It's about having the conversation. But hey, right, to each their own. To each their own. Like he's marketing a book, and we definitely, myself and Ulrich want to sit down and have a good conversation with him. So, hey, I'll be grateful when he does show up, right? I'll be grateful to have that conversation, and I am freaking prepared. I've got all kinds of stuff ready to go, so I'm super excited. There's no question there. True Bitcoiners will always be the small minority. I can't disagree. But anyways. All right, let's continue. Yeah, we're not done. Not done. Well, we're done with the Howard Lutnick stuff. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to some funny failure stuff. The funny failure stuff is good. Someone on my flight is headed to a Bitcoin conference in Abu Dhabi. When I told her I work for Solana Labs, she said, "You work in shitcoins." Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, that's all that deserved. Okay, that is all that deserved. These guys. That's funny stuff. Such nonsense. I was actually in a space yesterday listening to a whole bunch of cope about how Solana is going to outperform Ethereum and all this other stuff, and Solana's the real, the real building. It's just so bad. Guys, if you think shitcoins are done, if you think shitcoins are dead, I know so many people that wish they are not. Okay. And believe me, I know it sounds terrible, but you'd think that the Bitcoin price going significantly higher and shitcoin prices going down would somehow dissuade people from betting on this crap. It doesn't, because essentially they all just get to continue to point to Bitcoin. Every single shitcoin promoter gets to sit there. They point to Bitcoin and they say, yeah, hey, look, our project's going down right now, but just look at what Bitcoin did. We don't even need to do that. We just need a small fraction of that. Small fraction. It's the carrot on the end of the stick. That's all it is. The carrot on the end of the stick. All right. More fail. This is... And I get to my point of, I don't believe that this particular bull run is over. And here's why. Okay. And this, again, goes back to more degenerate behavior. You can deposit money into a bank account and earn 3.5% on prediction markets. It's probably closer to 10% that you can make on riskless stuff. Riskless stuff.
markets are starting to blend into finance, and the riskless price on prediction markets is pretty high, right? So if you think you deposit money in a bank account, you earn 3.5%. Well, on a prediction market, it's probably like closer to 10% that you can make just betting on riskless stuff.
You know they're going to get wrecked by this, right? You know there's a whole bunch of people that are actually going to, there's no such thing. If it's riskless, why would they pay you? Why would you be getting, yeah, it's a total free lunch. Absolutely. Plastic just hit the nail on the head. There you go. Right? Nah, what are you talking about? Of course there's riskless. He just explained 10%. 10% for the big guy because it's riskless. So many people are going to get wrecked, and I am here for it. That is funny stuff. That is funny stuff. All right, guys. Another reminder, right? I know, small platform, right? We don't have the big reach, but we do like to remind people, hey, Samourai. Now, I've seen some really interesting takes on Twitter, and I can't disagree because I've been here for enough time. I have myself had discussions with people who are supporters of Samourai in the past, and some of that stuff has been pretty toxic, and in some cases it hasn't. But I'll tell you this, right? Like, regardless of how you feel about these guys' behavior, that they're assholes, or he was, Keown was laughing about some other guy going to jail for this and that. Yeah, guys, look, I get it. Okay. Those are petty personal differences. We are human beings. We are individuals. As much as we may not like it, we just need to extrapolate how we feel about this stuff and realize what's at stake and what's important is individual privacy and freedom. Full stop. I don't care if Keown's an asshole. I don't care if Bill is. I don't care if these guys made fun of me at some point. It doesn't matter. Okay? Because this type of stuff sets the precedent. Okay? These guys going to jail, this sets the precedent. And that slippery slope, right? It's the Pandora's box, right? They open the box. That's it. Pandora's out. You don't get to put Pandora back, right? You don't get to put the smoke back in the board. It's not how this works. So, yeah, I honestly, the Samourai case, Plastic, I can't disagree with you. I really can. Yeah, that's a funny one about Salon. They weren't doing so well. They were falling apart. Anyway, sorry. I don't mean to derail myself. But yeah, the Samourai guys, right? You could say whatever you want, but I also agree. I do think that they were legit devs. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, like I said, it's if you can't handle that somebody disagrees with you or calls you a beta or whatever it is because they don't agree with you on a specific thing. I mean, like that's just it's a you issue, right? Like me, like if somebody says something to me and I get offended, I don't sit there and think that person is evil. I sit there and I try to figure out, like, why am I offended by this, right? Like, why am I being triggered by this? Is it because possibly I believe this about myself? It's not easy. It is not easy. But anyways, what's going on with the live feed? Are we losing signal? Is that what's happening? I noticed my Wi-Fi was kind of crippy. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, guys, if you didn't sign up, if you didn't sign the petition, I did sign the petition. Apparently, you always have to virtue signal everything you do. People can't just assume that you did the right thing. You have to tell people you did the right thing, so that way they think that you do the right thing. But yeah, if it so suits you, right? Consider signing the petition. This is a really bad situation, and obviously, guys, I've got links. I've got links here so that you can go, and it's all in the show notes. You could donate, or you could sign the petition, or you can do both. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about the connection. I don't know what's going on today, but I'm noticing it keeps dropping out. Anyways, we're lucky. It's the end of the show. It's the end of the episode for today. Tomorrow, supposed to have Lawrence Lepard. Okay, supposed to have Lawrence Lepard, and super excited to have him. We will be back 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of the day. Take it easy. And again, sorry about the connection. It sucks. I apologize. Take it easy, guys. Hopefully tomorrow will be better.